Hey guys, welcome to Garden on a Hill, where we talk about easy home gardening. My name is Vin and we are here in the start of my front yard garden for the summer, and I want to share this quick squash called a patty pan squash in a pot, which you may be interested to do as well. So if you have some time today, let's talk about the patty pan squash. This squash is a Native American heirloom, which means it has been here in the pre-colonial times, so it's pretty old. It was made popular when it was shipped to Europe in the 1700s, but basically it has been here for a while and it's native to North America. So typically you will harvest this when they're 3 inches. Obviously this one has gotten much bigger. It's about 6 or 7 inches, so you may want to harvest it half the size of this. If you are trying to find a zucchini alternative, this would be the perfect squash, as it grows the same time. It grows the same size almost, and it fruits the same time. The advantage to the patty pan is that you will be less prone to squash rut. Now, if you look at it closely, I planted it in a 5-gallon ceramic pot, and it's doing very well. I started this indoors March 10 and then transplanted it April 10 after a month. And from then on, today is June 4, so it's about a 3-month-old plant from seed, and you will expect to see some of the squash come out. So when you start this in a pot, in my case, I did it, use a 5-gallon, at least this is a 5-gallon pot, it's a ceramic pot, and start it with good soil and compost. Remember, when you start to grow plants in a pot, they don't make ground contact, so you want to make sure you have rich soil in there. Buy a good potting mix and then plant your seeds. I actually add a cup of biotone when I transplant the squash in there, just to give more nutrients to the soil, and of course mulch that. In my case, I use my grass clippings over the squash to keep water in there. The key to having a good container pot is just keeping it well watered and mulched. Okay, so let's take a closer look. Now, after it grows a little higher, you may want to start putting a trellis. In my case, you can use a tomato cage. I just use this metal fencing rolled up and I put it in the pot. I actually put it there as I put the soil in there, so it's just held in place by the soil. And as you can see, it's very happy with this setup. The squash is a very interesting shape, so if you want to plant this in your front porch, it may actually look like an ornamental squash at first. It'll have flowers that are different. So there is a male flower, which is one of these. I'm going to zoom into one. We don't have a good bloom right now. A male flower is needed to make sure the female flowers are pollinated to have squash. So you have these male flowers, which is just a stalk and then the flower, and then you have the female flowers that have a flower at the very end, like this one, and a little squash where it meets the trunk. So that's how the fruits would look like. Now, how do you basically maintain this? I make sure I water this at least twice a week because it's in a pot and it's hot here in the south. And then I also fertilize this every 15 days with a water-soluble fertilizer. Again, you can use your choice of fish fertilizer or your water-soluble 10-10-10 or 20-20-20. So if you have grown squash before, you know we have 3 basic enemies, and one of them is actually right here. I'm gonna zoom into it. It's called a Mexican bean beetle, or a squash beetle. It has an orange coat with some black dots. You can get rid of these by just picking them off and stomping on them. That's what I do, because you do not want the bugs to eat your leaves. They typically would target your leaves. The second thing is you would need your squashes to be in full sun to fight another enemy, and also they need full sun at least 6 to 8 hours to produce good leaves in squash. But the second enemy is powdery mildew. You can actually see that in the zucchini more than this one, but it will also have it. Any of the squash family will have it. This is how it looks like. I'm starting to battle some powdery mildew here. You can see there's some this white powder on the leaves. That is a fungal infection that can be treated with fungicide, copper fungicide. Sometimes I've heard people use milk or soap to basically fight this off, but that's one thing you want to keep in mind. You don't want to water your squash at night so water doesn't log and cause this fungus. There's actually another bean beetle right here that needs squashing. I told you it's the season for bean beetles, so kill them as soon as you see them. And then the last enemy you want to fight for squashes is vine borers or squash borers. They will basically go at the base of the plant and then start laying eggs. It's kind of a black-red moth that will lay its eggs at the bottom of the squash, and then it'll slowly eat the squash away, which will kill your entire squash. What I typically do is just get diatomaceous earth and fill the bottom portion of the squash, so the vine borer doesn't lay eggs there, or if it touches it, it'll die. Make sure it's away from the flowers because it will definitely kill pollinators. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, that is it. That is how you grow a patty pan. I'm gonna harvest this one right now for dinner tonight. I still have one up here and then a couple more around the plant. And I'm hoping more fruits, squashes will come up. I keep on saying fruits because they look like fruits. But I'm gonna harvest this with a pruner. Just take it there and get it out there. This is huge. So look at that. Very beautiful patty pan squash, white scallop shaped squash. Okay, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you subscribe, you like, and you hit that bell button. See you later.